Hello everyone, and for the last time, welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide Season 2. Because we're moving on, we are going to be moving on and doing a Season 3 of the Minecraft Survival Guide, and I recognize that this series has not been around for a little while, and so today I thought I would do an episode just talking a little bit about why and what's prompted the decision to move on and restart the Minecraft Survival Guide for Season 3. But if you just want the basics, Season 2 is ending, Season 3 will begin with the launch of Minecraft 1.20. We're going to do an Episode 0 in which we actually show the seed for the world, and we're going to talk about the process of picking a world seed for a new Minecraft world. So if you're into all of that and you're excited for 1.20, look out, because on Wednesday, when 1.20 is hopefully going to be released, we should have a fresh new episode for you, and we can get started with Season 3. So now for the Talky Bits. Season 2 of Survival Guide has obviously been gone for about, I want to say 4 or 5 months now. The last build we did for the series was this one over here, which was kind of a copy of the museum on Empires Season 2 as kind of an illustration of how you can work with the shape of a build and retexture it. But that's been it. The only other thing that appears in the playlist after that is the tutorial for David, the Copper Aging Machine, which is a tutorial in the creative sense, not in the survival guide sense. So there's a lot of different reasons why we didn't go any further with Survival Guide Season 2. The first one, honestly, being the fact that Empires Season 2 was going on at the same time. It's always been difficult for me to keep two vanilla series going side by side, but to be honest, Empires Season 2 has really felt like home for the last year. I've really wanted to stay in touch with everything that was happening on that server because it's a multiplayer server, so the minute you don't spend a week on there, you get left behind by the pace at which everybody else is building, and a lot of people were just outputting Empires as their main series. They were a lot of very talented builders, and so I wanted to be able to keep up with them. That is, of course, burying the lead a little bit, because the middle part of that season was a collaboration with Hermitcraft, and those of you who know that I've been a fan of Hermitcraft and I've hosted the Hermitcraft recap for probably like 6 years now, understand that that's kind of a big deal for me. It was an opportunity to collaborate with some of my favorite Minecraft creators, and it really felt like if I wasn't putting 100% into that series, I was going to be, missing out on a whole bunch of stuff. So the Hermitcraft collab really kind of took over a lot of my effort at that point, and honestly, I think the numbers on these two series speak for themselves. Empires Season 2 videos were doing a lot better than Survival Guide, even after Empires had been around for a little while. And it's easy to take a cynical angle at this point and say that I was just chasing views or looking for whatever made me the most revenue, but honestly, I've never really seen the point of arguments like that. They always seem like weird arguments to me, because views are an indication of audience interest, and of course I want to make more people happy by giving them a video that they want to watch, and more people are going to want to watch Empires than were watching Survival Guide at the time, so it really made the most sense both for my audience and for me to focus on that series. But the flip side of Empires Season 2 feeling so much like home was that this series hasn't felt like home, and increasingly whenever I've come back to this world, I sort of forgot what was here, and it's taken a while to readjust to what I've actually built in this series. I start to feel a bit like a stranger in my own house, which is a really strange thing. But just in terms of the way this season started, this was our spawn point, basically right over there on the sand, and I was determined to make the most of this start, but the spawn area here has always felt kind of underwhelming to me. It doesn't exactly show the best of what 1.18 has to offer, and it doesn't make sense for the tutorial aspect of the series to just go looking for the coolest looking mountain immediately. That's not always what people are going to want to do, and newer players aren't going to know how to survive. So I stuck around here and I built a bunch of stuff that I'm actually pretty proud of. I really love the storage building that we built up there. I love our little starter house. A couple of the builds around here are kind of cool, but honestly, I feel like we really didn't have time to make the most of it, or I didn't give it the time to make the most of it, because all of the thematic building, which kind of gives the world some character, was happening over on Empires, and that really took off with 1.19. When 1.19 arrived, we were able to find the Deep Dark in this world, we were able to find a mangrove swamp quite easily to get our mangrove wood, but then I couldn't really commit to big projects when it felt like Empires had already started and was building momentum. And like I said, there are a lot of things in this world that I do genuinely love. I love the way the storage building come together. I was really happy with the kind of S-curved shape it has, even though the inside doesn't feel entirely complete, and we would also have to expand it considering that this is all the space we left for wood, and then another wood type came out and 2 more wood types are on their way with Minecraft 1.20. On a technical level, the Guardian farm is probably the thing I'm the most happy with. I designed this from scratch. We drained the entire monument. It felt like a really landmark project for Season 2 of the Survival Guide. And then back over in the Dripstone Cave, you've got David 3.1, you've got that redstone-powered elevator connecting it to the lower level. I thought that whole area turned out really nicely as well. It was a fun tentpole project for the series and really felt like that allowed me to develop the copper aging facility in a way that obviously is now built on Hermitcraft, and I put out a more automated version of it in a tutorial recently. But none of this has really felt cohesive enough to really put this series on the map for me as one of the greats, and so that's really part of why I think it is time to move on. So you're probably also wondering, why not just keep this world, right? Why not continue Survival Guide Season 2 and just move into 1.20 and look at all of the new features from there? And to be honest, there are a lot of small reasons for that rather than one big reason. 1.20 introduces a lot of features that are linked to exploration and generated structures, right? So sniffer eggs need to be found in specific ocean ruins in warm oceans, and I'd need to go out and find one of those that I hadn't already explored in this world. Archaeology, by the same token, requires fresh desert temples to unearth and explore, and armor trim, kind of overshadowing all of this, requires a bunch of different undiscovered structures to loot for the smithing templates. So I'd need to find a bastion and a nether fortress that I'd never been to before. I'd need to find end cities that I hadn't raided. I'd need to find shipwrecks that I hadn't looted. And I've already been through a lot of those in this world already. Not to mention, while we're on the subject of bastions, the way you upgrade netherite armor has changed, and you now get a netherite upgrade template from a piglin bastion in 1.20, so any tutorials in which I've explained how to get netherite are now incorrect and need to be adjusted for newer viewers. And it's really those new viewers I'm thinking about, because while it's totally possible for me to continue this series and this world to cover all of that stuff, it still feels like new viewers aren't going to find the latest information until they reach episode 125 of the series. Of course, the alternative is to start it as Season 3, Episode 1 in a new area of the world, or trim areas of this world, remove all the structures so that they regenerate, all of that stuff. But that sort of feels like erasing this world's history, and in some cases that means erasing stuff we've already worked on. Some people like to move out 10,000 or 100,000 blocks, even move their world spawn point there using commands, and do a Season 2 or a Season 3 or whatever from there, but that's never really made sense to me, because what's the point in keeping this world if I'm never going to see any of my old builds anyway? You've also got the problem of the nether, because 10,000 blocks in the overworld feels like a long distance, but that's only 1,250 blocks in the nether. That's really not that far. I can fly there using barely a handful of fireworks. Also, one of the things that I really feel like held up our progression in this world is that I wasn't looking at a seed map, I was exploring entirely organically, and it turns out the nearest desert to me was over 4,000 blocks away, at least a significant one with desert villages and temples and stuff like that. And starting a new world gives me the opportunity to get a desert a little bit closer, because I want to be able to breed camels immediately, and you need 2 different desert villages to spawn in the same desert to have a chance of bringing 2 camels together in an easy manner. We also have no idea where trail ruins would generate in this world, and I'd love to find one of those close to home. It also means erasing the end dimension if we wanted to start over from the first Ender Dragon fight. And moving a world spawn would mean more explanation for new viewers who would always wonder why, when I hit F3, my spawn point was 10,000 blocks out and theirs wasn't. Meanwhile, starting a new world kind of gives me the opportunity to fall in love with it, the way I got attached to the Empire's Season 2 world. I actually found that seed for the Empire's crew in a big voice call where we were all just rolling seeds in chunk base and seeing what came up. And it was love at first sight. I got so attached to the landscape we had there, the personality it felt like the world already had, and I could instantly see projects that I wanted to do there. So in the new season of Survival Guide, I'm taking the same approach. I've actually found a world seed on chunk base already, just hitting random a few times and seeing what comes up. We looked at it on a live stream recently, and I'm pretty committed to starting Season 3 in this world. Selecting a seed means I don't end up with a desert that's 5,000 blocks from spawn in an update that requires you to find desert temples, villages, and warm oceans. And part of the reason I'm in love with this seed in particular is it's got this landmark really close to spawn that I won't spoil for you. It is there on the live stream if you wanted to go and look at the VOD, but it's basically one of those things that you look at and you think, yeah, I wouldn't mind looking at that every day of my life for the next year or so. Aside from that, moving to a Season 3 also allows me to make changes in the way I do these videos and I present the information in these videos. And I'm considering changing the format of Survival Guide a little bit, starting with a more concise tutorial for the first chunk of the video, and then providing all of the context and more casual Let's Play footage in the second half for people who want to stick around and watch the remainder of the video, because inevitably there's going to be some people who complain about the length of a video or the fact that I bury information until later in the video, so I'm hoping that I can kind of hit the best of both worlds there. I can provide a bunch of information that people are going to need right up front, and then they can take that information away and do what they want with it, or they can stick around for a bit more context, for a bit more information, why a redstone tutorial works, or why we look for biomes in a specific way, instead of just watching me going out and doing that stuff. Honestly, yeah, a fresh start feels good for a lot of reasons, so that is what we're doing. But of course, after having said all that, I expect the question most people are going to have is, will there be a world download of this world? And honestly, what's happened to the world download for Survival Guide Season 1 at this point? Yeah, I have stalled on that for a very long time. I always had this notion that I was going to go back to Survival Guide Season 1 and finish the museum there and do a bunch more stuff that I never had the time to do, for the same reasons I never had the time to really continue with this series in the way that I wanted to. So I'm going to package them both together, and in the description of this video you should find a link to a Mediafire download where I have grouped together the Survival Guide Season 1 and Season 2 world. Survival Guide Season 1 is available for Minecraft 1.16.4. It was basically, or 1.16.5, I forget. It was the last version that I opened that world in. It is, of course, perfectly safe to open it in newer versions, but it will generate a bunch of terrain that didn't exist in that world before, so you're going to be looking at deep slate caves and all of that kind of stuff, and some of the terrain generation outside is going to blend into 1.18 plus generation. This world, Survival Guide Season 2, was last opened in 1.19.3, but then I just reopened it now in 19.4 for the first time, so that is available for more recent versions of Minecraft, and both of them are going to be perfectly playable into 1.20 if you feel like starting with my world and continuing from there. But folks, for the last time from this world, that is where we are going to sign off the Minecraft Survival Guide Season 2. Season 3 will be starting on Wednesday, and in the meantime, I should hopefully have an episode of the New Life SMP coming out this week as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for making Survival Guide Season 2 what it was, and hopefully you folks will stick around to see what we get up to in Season 3. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're excited for Season 3 of Survival Guide, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care. Bye for now.